Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Redman here with Cooking Off Your Rocker, Rocking Off Your Crocker, Cooking with Betty Crocker, Rocking Off Your Cooking and Rocking with Betty Crocker. See, you just shouldn't do these things live. Anyway, how are you? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking the Dips, the appetizers of the Betty Crocker 1969 cookbook. Why am I doing this? Because it's fun. I was born in 1969. I'm going to dress up. I welcome you guys too. I hope you guys learn something from some of these, like, to me, old school vintage recipes. Trying something new is always exciting. And I've wanted to do this like forever, it seems. Like in my 20s. 48, I want to do this in my 20s. Yeah, it's time. So join along. What are we doing today? We are on recipe number 3 and 4. So I am starting at the front of the cookbook. You haven't missed much. If you want to go back, there's a few dips. Yeah, I talked a lot longer in those. I'll make these shorter. But I still want it to be informative and fun and blah, blah, blah. So hopefully it is. Number 3 is using artichokes. All I'm going to say is, I don't know where you live, but where I live, you can only get, I think, the Bird's Eye brand. Somebody tell me. I was born in 1969, so I was not the one cooking then. I have no clue. So I was really curious about that. And I asked on Facebook and I asked on a few other places, and nobody seems to know for sure. Artichoke hearts, frozen. You can buy them in a jar. I know about that. You can buy them in a can. I definitely know about that because I've made a lot of artichoke dip. But I had no clue or never needed or thought about, and I've made them fresh. Frozen, well, duh, they're going to make it frozen. I think they make everything frozen, but these were not easy to find. I did find them at one store. There might be one at another one, but they're just not at every store. So are people not eating artichokes? They're actually really good for you. I don't know. For the most part, here in Wisconsin, there are a lot of like artichoke dip choices when you go out to different restaurants. So I was shocked. I was shocked by that on how hard it was to find this, but I did. This is a 9-ounce little box. It did come with, oh, that's not the bag I used. Well, anyway, there's a little bag that was in here. I've cooked this part already because I don't want you to have to watch me boil artichoke hearts. So there was a little bag in there, which I kind of like, not trying to sound picky, but I've gotten frozen vegetables and they're like all stuck to the box. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of not cool. And you're picking off the box. So that had a nice little bag in it. And like I said, I'll get to that, but I already did that part. That's one recipe we're going to be doing. So that's the artichoke with onion dip. I may have already said that. Then the next one, I'm going to do 2 today because again, I am cooking this whole cookbook. I'm going to try to wear clothing from 69 through the 70s. I'm going to show you my apron. I think I had this on the last one. I don't know. I have 7 aprons now. It's going to take a while. So I'm going to do, like, sometimes I might do 5 dips. This is working out perfect because I'm going somewhere over the weekend, visiting, gathering, you may say. And so I'm going to bring this stuff along. So maybe this will give you guys, little tips on what you may want to try for your family or friends or whatever. Okay, the next one, number 4, is peppered cheddar dip. That's on the next page. Woo! Moving on to the next page. All right, so I'm going to turn you guys around. Oh, first apron. I might have worn this last time. I don't know. So, hold on. It's just like a... Oh, you can't. You can't. Maybe when I turn this around. It's like a cute, flowery apron, and this is just like, oh yeah, I'm going out. Like, I'm the person cooking, and then later I'd be going out, getting ready for a party. This thing flips. I didn't even know that. It flips, and then there's a little pocket inside too. So I love that. Love that. You guys, I'm a theme party person in the sense of like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out. So hopefully you guys join in the fun. I would love to see photos and comments and What did you guys think of these dips? Oh, before I forget, because I'm doing dips, for the most part, I'm going to let you guys know what did I think of the last dip. It was Harlequin. So if you guys have this cookbook, just go get it and look at it or find one. Google it, Harlequin dip. I really loved it. I was pleasantly surprised. But if you've never tried it, Google Betty Crocker's, get your 1969 Betty Crocker cookbooks out. Or there's other versions online, but it was really good. And everybody that I had sample it thought it was awesome too. So great one to bring to a party or just have at home and add it to whatever. I even put a little bit on top of a baked sweet potato. So that was awesome. Okay, someone coming through the kitchen. Act natural. All right. Okay. Turning around. Ta-da. There we go. So here's the book, you guys. This is going to be very simple. Once I get going, it's going to go quickly. Like most dips, I really think are pretty healthy. Now, if you have this version, back then, as far as I know, there weren't a lot of nutritional values showed. Not to say they didn't care about what they ate, they definitely did, people. But they didn't show, like, here's my newer version. Well, it's not mine, it's my daughter's. I got her this years ago. She wanted a cookbook, and guess what? This is what I bought her, Betty Crocker. These will definitely have your little nutritional information, tidbits, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to figure out your calories, it's really not as hard as what people think that it is. You just take your items. So if we're using a half a cup of mayonnaise, here's the dip for this next recipe. A half a cup of sour cream and a packet of the onion mix. You just take those measurements from the back of anything. And this box had the calories on it. I already threw that out from the last time I did a dip. And you just add that up and divide and portion it out. Of course, you're going to have to add the artichokes. What would that be? Probably not much. And then you decide how much you're going to eat. You know, I know people that are on calorie counting. I know people that are on protein counting. I know people that are on low carb, all that kind of stuff. So it is possible. I'm sure there's probably apps. In fact, I got to look into that, because if there's not, somebody needs to make an app to just maybe scan this, and then you put the equivalent, like a half a cup, a third a cup, scan this, you know, and boom, it'll tell you. Like I said, there probably is, but if not, I just gave somebody great ideas. All right, so let's just say 45 calories, 1 tablespoon. So if it's a half a cup, like it is in this recipe, no, it's 1/3 cup. I'm just going to measure out those amount of tablespoons, and there you go. I will know how many. Oh no, that's how many calories I have. The same goes for your protein, your carbs, sugars, anything. So it really is as simple as that. Okay. You may or may not care. It's up to you. Okay. As my show gets going, I'm going to start collecting more bowls, and I'm going to try to make this as realistic of the time era that it was, 1969 and all through the 70s, that people be using this cookbook. But I just have what I have now, and I can only go up. So, all right. Okay, I don't know what you guys, but like, I am known for keeping my cookbook very close. I probably need to get one of those stands where you don't splash and stuff all over your book. But I think that's also what just makes it, like, it's that authentic. And when I pass this one down someday and then someone else passes it down, you know, it's just, the love is there. The love is on the page. But I have known, you know, at the same time, it could ruin your book too. You know, you might get to a point where you can't even read a certain section because there's so much food on it. But anyway, I am guilty of that. I am sure I'm not alone, because I've seen cookbooks in thrift stores, which is where if you don't have this, you can order this. You can order it on eBay, probably other sites, and thrift stores, they will have it. That's what I had to do, because my original, the one I had or thought I had, is gone. So sad, but I moved on. Just order it. Okay, so what it says to do is take 2 prepared frozen artichoke packages. Did they not have canned or I know they had fresh. Did they not have canned or jarred back then? I have no idea, but if you can't find it, just use the canned or go, just make I would probably say cook your own over canned because what I read was canned could just give it kind of they're too mushy. They might be better because you're going to see what I'm going to do with this. They might be better like when you mix it all up, which you could totally do with this recipe, but you're going to see what's going to happen. I can see why they use fresh. So I would say ideally use fresh, frozen second, and then canned if you're just in a pickle, and jarred. Like these are marinated. These are just some that I have for other recipes, but I'm pretty sure you can get these in a jar. They're still going to be mushier probably. Without like all the other extra seasonings in it. But you know what? I bet those would be good with this recipe. All right, so you got to use what you have and do what you got to do because that's what's going to happen on my next recipe, and we'll get there. All right, let's get going. So I've already cooked just like you should, the 5 to 6 minutes, in a little pan with water. The artichokes, I'm doing these live, most of them. So I didn't want you to sit there and watch some lemons and artichokes just boiling and simmering and cooking. So I did that already. I'll be right back. Here they are, cooled and chilled in the fridge. Set those aside. So that's done. As that was getting done, ideally for me, I would have been already doing the dip and probably had the other dip done and bam, I'm done. But for the show, I want to show you that. I'm going to assemble it. But if you're trying to use and make more of your time, just move on to the next thing as something else is sitting or heating. I highly recommend using a kitchen buzzer because time can get away on you and things can burn and not turn out, or you'll forget when did I put it in. So a kitchen timer, have 2 if you need it. Sometimes you're doing 2 different things and they're not going to end or begin at the same time. So 2 kitchen timers are awesome. You just kind of make do with what you have. If you don't have an ingredient, how lucky are we these days that you can Google something to find out? But I'm just trying to give you guys some tips. I am not a professional cook. I'm not a professional chef. I'm just a mom who's been cooking, which seems like forever. And even before I had my kids, just cooking different things. So I'm just going to share my tips with you guys. And if you guys have anything as you're watching, you make something like that would have been something else you could do. I can handle any kind of feedback and help because we all need to help each other a little bit, right? All right. Yep, I'm gonna have to get another stand so I can have this a little bit more handy. So 1/3 cup dairy sour cream, 1/3 cup mayonnaise, and 1 tablespoon dry onion soup mix. All right. I always have all my things that I'm gonna need out before I start something too. So I've got hopefully everything I need. And that is no different than if I was cooking with you guys or just here alone by myself in the kitchen. I am gonna need to go buy more mayonnaise. I don't think I've ever gone through so much mayonnaise as I have. Yeah, probably ever. And I'm only on recipe number 3. So I do remember mayonnaise being quite the staple in the house when I was a kid. I'll be right back. I did not have everything I needed. I love having a spatula out, especially for like dips and sauces and anything, because it's amazing how much sticks to the side. And if it says a certain amount, you really want to make sure you get that in there. Plus, you're just wasting it. So just get it all in there. Something like this, maybe even a smaller one would work a little bit better. But that way I've got it cleared. All right. Moving on, sour cream. Going through a lot of sour cream too. In my world, it seems like a lot of sour cream. And I have made a few dips in my life. You know, like I was saying, I've made the artichoke dip. Not this recipe, but other recipes where you kind of mixed it all in. This is going to be different. And whoa, oh, okay, that was yucky. And anyway, I'm like, I can't imagine if I was, well, I can't imagine, but I'm just astounded by how many calories are. I'm not selling this on my, how many calories are in sour cream? So I kind of knew that in the back of my mind, but again, I don't typically eat a lot of this. I have been more lately, but again, I kind of do a little bit just every day. It's not like I'm eating the whole bowl myself. I'm sharing and all that good stuff. And I do believe in all moderation, but definitely check that. I kind of feel like I diverted and I'm going back to that, but that's the wellness person in me. That's the fitness professional trying to help you guys a little bit. Again, I'm not a food expert. I'm not a chef. I'm not a nutritionist. I just know what I know from being alive as long as I have. Check that out though, because that is probably where, when you're at a party, what's getting you. So it's not like I'm saying don't eat these things and make these things, but just be aware of if you're struggling or you're gaining or you're like, I don't know how I can't lose, you know, the calories will add up, and this deliciousness right here is not helping you. All right, back to the show. So normally I don't measure. I have cooked so much that I think I've gotten to the point where I could just eyeball 1/3 or half or a full cup. So I almost feel funny measuring some of this, but no matter what, even if it was in a bowl and I was scraping this into like more of a cute bowl that I wanted to bring, I would still use the spatula to scrape out like anything to get it all into the next thing I need to do. I highly recommend measuring, especially when we get to the baking and the cookies section, which I have not done a lot of that personally. I've been involved in helping people, but like I've not like done it all by myself. So that'll be interesting in itself. But what I do know is that when it comes to baking, and somebody could help me with that, like you really got to make sure you measure. Like I think things can flop and fall and not rise. So that'll be a little bit interesting for sure. But with this stuff, I would still measure if I was new, especially somebody new to any kind of cooking. Just get the idea, and then in time you will develop like, oh yeah, that's 1/3. And I think after a while, like I always tell people, it's your dip. If you want to tweak it, if you wanted more sour cream, if you wanted more onion mix, whatever it is, or maybe you're like, you know what, that would have been really great with whatever in it, like some chopped onion or green pepper or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's your dip. So do what you want with it. Make it how you like it. Maybe you wanted garlic in there. I think, you know, that's what's fun is you can start with a basic recipe and just make it your own. There are no rules, you guys. There's no rules in your kitchen. Okay, I showed this on the last show, but I'll show it again quick. I don't know. These are old fashioned and these are not old, but this is just, I'm sure the only option there was in 1969 were like individual measuring spoons. But I really love this little slider. I love this little slider, teaspoon, tablespoon. It only goes down to a teaspoon. So again, if someone was new, you might want to get the smaller ones so you don't like overly spice something or whatever in baking. Maybe it's going to become more important that I go buy something that has a smaller than a teaspoon. But I love this slider thing. I'm all about less is more and that things are more organized in a drawer. And I just think this takes up less space and it's just like one thing to clean. It comes apart and use what you like. So now I'm going to put 1 tablespoon, right, of the dry onion mix. You guys, what do you do with your packet? Like, let's say I'm not going to make this again. What would you do? I like adding these to my burgers. Like, I'll throw a little bit and mix up my burgers with it. That's probably my only suggestion. On the spot, I can't think of what else I do with it, but you know, it's summer here right now, so there's a lot of grilling going on, but it wouldn't take long for this to disappear in this home. But if you guys have ideas, like what do you do with your little packet like this? Or I'm going to probably end up saving it. It's going to be used in some other recipes since I'm doing every recipe in this book. But once you've used a little out there, what are you going to do with it? All right, so this is it. This is the dip. Last night I went ahead and I was looking through the appetizers in the new edition Betty Crocker. I didn't see any of these in there yet. Very, very different versions of things, but I think these dips are awesome. This is really like reminding me of being a kid. Who didn't love, you know, their childhood of magic? And hopefully you were lucky like me that you had a few people in your life that like to cook and, you know, you could help once in a while. I always had my kids help me. They don't want to help as much now, but when they were little, they had fun. And I liked having the help. And then they wanted to try it. They wanted to eat it because they helped. Okay, so that's it, you guys. That's the dip. This is way too big of a bowl. Here's another thing. I like having a bigger bowl than what the ingredients will be. I think it just is less mess because it's not going to spill over. I just feel like if it's just a little bowl and I'm like, trying to be all careful, but here's what it looks like. I don't know how good you can see that. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. I'm going to put it in this little Tupperware here. I don't need this big bowl. Also, I lost the lid to this bowl. So where do my lids go? Does anybody know? Where do any lids go? Like a sock. Where are they? Oh, yeah, I am really messy. I've so far spilled sour cream, liquid, the stuff that's on top on my dress. Good thing I'm not going to a party. Now I know why the ladies wore the apron that went higher up, which I have one like that. I think I have 2. Because if they're going to spill like me, I wouldn't ever be able to wear these tiny, you know, short, cute ones. Like if I was already dressed up to leave, which by the way, I'm not going to be leaving my house with this dress on, but I might be going to a party at some point, like for Halloween, and maybe I could wear it then. Okay, that is that. So what you would do with this recipe, you know, this has to sit for a while. It's supposed to chill an hour. So I'm not tasting these things now. I'm just going to tell you the next time what I thought. Anytime I can take a little taste of it, you know, while the show is happening, I will definitely do that. But I can't do this because this has to sit. So here are the artichokes. I've still got the little lemons in there. Why is that in there? Why did I have to put 2 slices of lemons in there? I have no idea. I'm going to have to Google that because it'll drive me crazy. These are the only spears I really have right now. These are little cocktail spears. So I'm not really completely sure how they would have done this. Would they be like a whole bunch on here? But it says to put these on spears. You can see. Like that, and then you're gonna dip. So, you know, to me, I don't know. Again, I'm from Wisconsin. This is never gonna be enough dip. Never gonna be enough dip with this many artichoke because people are gonna like glob it on there. We like dairy. But maybe that's good. This is maybe portioned out the way it needs to be. And so just a little bit on here. Like I said, the things that I'm used to doing is making a dip very similar to that. And then I would have used canned or marinated, chop this up a lot smaller and like mix it up. So there's another idea for you to do. I think back then, this is a cheese platter, but I'm just going to use it. I think these would either be standing up on their side and a cute little bowl in the middle and, put them around and there you go. I think it actually would be nice. I'd probably, I don't know, I'm just like this, but I like to put a little what else was in it. So even if the lemon isn't important, it must be, I had to put it in the water. I still like put a little lemon out there and do what you like. Maybe all the artichoke on one side and then a more rectangle dip platter over here. But it's your party, it's your home. You serve it how you want. I just think having it on a platter like they would have then, it's just fun. Kids would love to do this part. I think they would. Put that on the skewer. All right, let me set this aside. For the moms and the dads and whoever's cooking in the house, grandmas, I do get it. Like kids can drive you crazy in the kitchen. So the whole saying kind of was, help or get out, except I was like, come on, help. Because again, I mostly did it because I knew that if they tried it, they would, if they helped, they were way more likely to want to try it. So that's my huge tip for anybody to try to get people to, even adults, I think that would work on. But if they're involved, it's like, yeah, I would like to try that. So try that and let me know how it went. But putting the little artichokes on the skewers, I think a kid would have fun with that. All of this is safe. There's no knives involved, other than when I had to cut the lemon. But they can stir and they're problem solves. Maybe they make maybe now that you see how simple this recipe is, you could take a spoon, mayonnaise, sour cream, make it level, doesn't matter, and put a little onion soup mix in it, and they could stir their own. Let them have fun, let them make their own little dip mixes, and there you go. Why not, right? You got to make it a little fun, especially for kids. You never know. Maybe they could teach you something too. I know mine did. Can't think of something right now. I'm sure they did. They did. I just can't think of it right now. Okay, so dip number 1 is complete. Looking forward to that. The next one is peppered cheddar dip. Crisp carrot and celery sticks are the perfect go-with for this dip, which I will be cutting up, putting in a Tupperware, and bringing somewhere Saturday. So that's going to be perfect. Let's get going. Let's see if this one fits in this bowl. I'm not always the best at eyeballing this stuff, so we will find out. I'm good at eyeballing a measuring cup. I'm not good at eyeballing a bowl. Maybe that's why I usually use a gigantic bowl as well. Actually, I've watched a lot of cooking shows, and most of my tips, like, I've gotten off of that. There we go. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Guys, this kitchen under construction. Kind of. Yes, it is. 1.5 cups dairy sour cream. Again, I'm so used to just doing it, I have to measure it out. I don't have to, but I'm going to. 1. Look at all that. Look at all that sour cream. All right. Let's recap. Recap on the calories. 60 calories in 2 tablespoons. Delicious. Yes, I'm using the spatula that I used in the other recipe. Did not rinse it off. Usually I would. one. Take a lot of sour cream. All right, get the other one out. This is probably why I don't measure too. I don't like to do the dishes. Like, I super hate doing the dishes. I like the cooking, hate the dishes. Who loves dishes? I'm sure there's probably someone. Okay. 1 cup shredded cheddar cheese. Okay. I don't think that back in 1969 they had pre-shredded cheese. How fortunate are we to have pre-shredded cheese? I think pretty fortunate. It is one of my biggest pet peeves is shredding stuff, but I'm going to do it for the sake of being in 1969. And here are some options. These are just some handheld. I do own these little tripod one. I don't know. My kids seem to like this one better. I hate all kinds of shredding, but you do what you got to do. I usually buy the shredded up already, uh, but I use this one. Isn't that funny? I have no. I can't even tell you why I like one over the other. They make smaller ones. You know what? Probably because this one takes up more space, and I don't like that. I like minimal and things that don't take up a lot of space. I think this is true from what I remember from watching cooking shows, is that your cheese, why would it be better to buy it in a block the way I did, like this? Is because I think when air hits the cheese, it starts doing something to it. It might not be as fresh. I may or may not be right about that. Yes, I'm from Wisconsin. You think I'd know that, but why should I? I'm not making cheese. But I think there's something to that. So that is one huge reason you would maybe want to shred your own. It's going to be fresh. And I think they put stuff in the bagged. I don't know, because why doesn't it stick? So think about that. There's probably more ingredients in the shredded. I'm thinking. Look at your brands. Then with this, it's not shredded, so they didn't have to add stuff around it so it doesn't stick. Okay, so I'm always torn between I want it fresh. I don't want stuff sticking to my cheese or stuff on my cheese so it doesn't stick. So I usually buy it by the block. But let's face it, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't know why. I just don't like doing it. So I will buy it. I will buy it shredded. I'm confessing. Shredded cheese buying confessions right now. All right, you guys, I always wash my hands before I do any cooking, and I usually end up washing them about 10 times throughout the process. So that's something I forgot to mention, and you can do what you want, but I would highly recommend to wash your hands before you start any kind of cooking. All right, so 1 cup shredded cheddar cheese. All right. We love cheddar cheese in this house. We love cheddar cheese so much I buy extra sharp. I bought the extra extra. There is such a thing, extra extra sharp. And my tip is with the extra sharp or extra extra sharp, the more sharp it is. Let's say I was having like a totally different meal and I wanted a little cheese flavor, but I don't want to have a lot of cheese on it. I want the flavor, but not a lot. You go with the stronger one. You don't have to put so much on there. Now, for this recipe's sake, I will do the appropriate amount that it said, but this is how I shred cheese. Can you guys even see? You cannot. I'll turn myself. I just usually have a bigger bowl. I guess I was not prepared. I would have shredded it right into here because I would have been able to eyeball what is a cup. And again, I would think if you love cheese, maybe you even want to put more in a cup. I don't know. Now I'm just throwing cheese everywhere. I gotta throw this out. This is called an extra arm workout. I'm just kidding. I can feel it a little bit. Okay, I don't think you should smash it down, but because if it's fresh like this, it's just gonna get sticky in there. So that's a cup cheddar cheese. Wow, that's really sticking. Cheese all over the place. Get in there. All that I would have wasted, but I had a plate underneath there. All right. So there it is so far. The next ingredients is 1/4 cup chopped fine onion. Over. All right. I do not like tiny cutting boards. That's just me, but I do have one. It just works for certain things. And I'll use it for this show because I don't really have a lot of space right now. But I mentioned it before, and it won't be the last time. You guys, if you can invest in anything, get really, really good knives that you don't mind hold, especially if you're going to start cooking more, that feel good in your hand and that are sharp. Teach your kids, it's the safeties of knives. I'll talk about some stories down the road. Like, they're funny. I think they're funny. I'll share those with you with the kids, but my kids learned that pretty young. You still want to give them a try, like, okay, we got to let them try at certain ages. I know it's scary with a knife, but when my kids would have the knife, I stopped what I was doing. I mean, I watched them and then, we'd take it away. But I think having a very sharp knife is important. With little kids, I might start not having them chop like this. Once they get to this point, like I said, I would, take the time to teach them like safety and how to hold their fingers and all that. But to get them used to a knife, you just start with a butter knife on something that they can chop. They could chop cheese. I'm sure they could test it out. Fruit, like banana, that kind of thing. Gives them the idea of the skills of how to use a knife. And then the next I moved up to like a steak knife. It's serrated, and then they end up with the big honker. And I remember my little boy, he was so, well, I don't even remember how old he was. He seems a little, but he had the big knife, and that was something to be proud of. Makes it so much easier when you have a nicer knife. So this is not going to use much onion. 4th cup. I feel like I can hear a fly buzzing around. Not good. Not something you want in the kitchen. Okay, so for cutting, if you have a really good knife, I mean, that thing is just going to go through there like butter. And I don't even like lift my knife. I just have my fingers back and I lift up my hand, but the top part of my knife is still down, and I just slowly go across. I'm still, after all the chopping I've done, I'm still extremely careful when I'm chopping like this because you do not want to end up in the ER, I don't think. No. And then you turn it. And again, I think with the bigger chopping board, things can get a little messier and you just feel like you have more room, but use what you got. Finely chopped. All right. So finely chopped. Then you just take your knife, put your hand here, and you can just start going back and forth. So the top is never coming up. Ugh. Yeah, this is like the tiniest cutting board in the world, I think. So that's not all the way finely chopped, but it's pretty quick. And I just go from there. One thing I did learn from a girl who, I don't know if you can say like people's names. I don't know all the rules on Facebook, but I would give a shout out to a person I think a lot of people would know on TV. And what I learned, and it makes so much sense, is I used to scrape my stuff like this on my knife, but you're just dulling your knife. So you take the other side to do the scraping. So that, seems logical and like, oh yeah, duh, but it I had never been doing that and it's really changed. And I think I do feel like my knives stay definitely sharper longer. Could just be all in my head, right? But no, that actually makes sense because why would you want to scrape that across? So get the onion in there, however you're going to get it in there. Well, 3 tablespoons minced green pepper. Here in Wisconsin, and I'm sure everywhere, right? Probably. You have your fresh produce going. I'm going to be so sad when it's not anymore. And I've washed that already. It's not going to take much at all. So if it says 3 tablespoons, I feel like I'm just blocking you guys. In some of the future episodes, I will have a lot of this like already in a bowl, just ready to throw in, but really I am doing this show for multiple reasons, and one of them, the strong reason, is just to show you guys some tips, what I know. This is real life, and if you're following along, because I know a few people that said I'm actually going to follow along if I can catch it live, or I'd like to be doing it while you're doing it. You have the time then. You have the time to be chopping up with me and not having to pause it. So I'll try to make it work. All right, I am not going to measure that. I should. Nah, I can't. I'm not sure that was 3 tablespoons. It was close enough. All right. And those weren't exactly minced. I might add more to this when I'm done. 1/4 teaspoon salt. Now, salt has changed over the years. You've got your table salt, and then you've got Himalayan salt, and you got your sea salt. I usually use the pink Himalayan salt or sea salt, but I still do have like some traditional on the table salt. So I think I'm going to just use that because that's what they would have used. Okay, so this one, again, it's something that goes down to a teaspoon, but you can still eyeball this if you don't have, actually, a 1/4 teaspoon. Just 1/4 of that little hole right there is going to be salt. I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. Really watch if you're doing something like this over a bowl, because this whole thing could fall in there and then it's basically going to be ruined. So for the most part, it'd be rare for you to catch me taking a very opened seasoning like this, especially salt. And I know this is going to pour out fast, right over the bowl. You don't think it's going to happen, but trust me, it's happened to me and it's happened to people I know. So there's about a 1/4. I was shocked today when I realized I had no Tabasco sauce. So that is the next ingredient, but here's what happened. You do what you got to do. You can Google things, but if you do not have Tabasco sauce, you can make like your substitute of Tabasco sauce. So Tabasco, which I learned, has a lot of vinegar in it. So I did not know that. The suggestion online that I'm gonna copy is use some cayenne red pepper mixed with vinegar, and that will make a substitute if you have no Tabasco. Who knew? See, you learn. Another big reason why I'm doing this, I just want to learn new things, and it's already happening. All right, I can just wash this. Wasn't thinking about how I was going to stir this tiny little bit of, look at that. Shots, anyone? That might not be the best shot, but who knows? It's all about trying new things, right? An 1/8 teaspoon. There was a suggestion if you didn't care for the vinegar and you were still looking for the substitute to Tabasco, you could use the sriracha sauce, which I do have that, but I don't mind the vinegar, and I'm trying to mimic as close as I can to the real thing. So I'm just choosing to do the substitute. So I just use white distilled vinegar and then quite a bit of the pepper. I think that's gonna work all good. Maybe a little more. Oh yeah, trying to stay on plan and then completely just doing whatever works. Okay, I gotta get the milk. I suppose I should have checked the fridge for milk too, because my son, like, he'll drink like a gallon, 2 gallons a day sometimes. He goes in streaks. So luckily there is a little bit of milk left, or that would have been a little embarrassing. What would I have done if there was no milk? I would have used water. What are you gonna do? Right? You gotta roll with it. Roll with it and Google it. Look at me. I'm pouring over. I find like that's different than something that could spill all the way in, such as a spice. Has anybody ever done that? You're pouring something, and the next thing you know, like half of a gallon of milk ends up in your dip. I guess I could see that. I could see anything happening, really. Okay, so that's it. Mix all ingredients. If necessary, add another tablespoon of milk to make a good dipping. Oh, it's for the dipping. So you probably could use water. I don't know. I used milk because I had it. And then cover, refrigerate at least 1 hour. Mmm. Yummy. I'm definitely going to put more green pepper in there. I think it'd be kind of nice having a little more green showing. But it smells really good. I think it could use the rest of this vinegar hot sauce too. Smells good. Yeah, go ahead and do that. So I did that because I know what I like, what I think most of the people that I'm going to be around this weekend are going to like. So you add what you want after you follow a recipe. And I always suggest try to follow if you've never done a recipe as best you can or as close as you can. Try it and then go from there. I love green pepper. I could put whole green pepper in here and I would enjoy that. I understand not everybody will. So look at it. Do you think you want to add more green pepper? I'm going to. It's your recipe. Do you want more cheese? We'll see what this is like. I think I did pretty close staying to the exacts. And I learned something. You can use the cayenne pepper, red pepper, crushed. There were a bunch of other suggestions online. Again, I think it's just crazy and awesome that we live in a time where if you don't know, you can find something like that, like in a pinch, which I think would come really handy with cooking um, in a house where you're not always going to be sure is the item still there when I get home to make this dip or meal or whatever it is. There's usually a substitute, and that's awesome. All right, you guys, that is it. I'm going to put my cover on my dip. I really, really like this bowl. It's glass. It has this cute little mushroom onion, kind of 69, 70s looking to me. And I feel like this is going to get a lot of use, and we're going to see it a lot on the show. Oops, I'm going to show you guys one more thing. So this weekend, since I am going away for a day, I am going to use my little carry 2 dips are in the middle. It's going to be my 2 dips, and then I'm going to cut up the carrot and celery for the dip that I just did. And then on the other side, I'm going to have a bunch of the skewers. If they don't fit, I'll just go get like a little pack of like toothpick ones that have a little curlies at the top. I think I could get them all in there too, and I'll be all set. I'll be all set for this party. If you guys enjoyed that or make it, please let me know. If you learned anything. Next time, how many should I do? How many should I do? The next 3 in the book are Nippy Blue Cheese Dip. Oh my gosh, I love blue cheese. Anybody else? I really, 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 really love blue cheese. It's gross to many, but I really, really love it. After that, there's Dilled Shrimp Dip. That looks good. And Dipsy Devil. All right. I'll do 2 for sure. Probably 3. If anybody is going to be following this early next week, I apologize. I have a more than usual crazy schedule between now and next week, and then going away like that. I just will not be able to do any dips until Monday or Tuesday next week. So I'm thinking 3. I'm thinking 3 because I'm cooking this whole book, and I could be 100 before it's over, but I'm thinking 3 dips would be great. I try to do it closer to the weekend because, see, it's easier to share, and then you guys have ideas for the weekend, but you got to do what you got to do. Cooking a whole book. Should have a contest. How many recipes are in this? You can't, though. You guys would just count them, and then that wouldn't be fair. That's my thoughts on that. But it would be. If I could have, like, an honest challenge, like, enter your how many recipes do you think are in that cookbook, that would be kind of fun. That's what it's all about, you guys, is having fun. So I hope you guys enjoy that dip. I'll let you know the next time what I thought. I was going to read you guys what you need if you don't have the book. I think it's just going to be easier if you have the book. I don't work for Betty Crocker. These are all her recipes. These are not mine. I take no credit. But the things that you'll need, just to give you some suggestions, the Nippy Blue cheese, 2 packs of cream cheese. You're going to have milk. You're going to have mayonnaise, Worcestershire sauce, and crumbled blue cheese, of course. Dilled shrimp dip. You're going to need more milk, cream cheese, 1 pack on that one. 1 can, 4.5 ounces shrimp. 1 teaspoon lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, garlic salt, and dill weed. And the Dipsy Devil is 1 jar of cream cheese. 1 jar? Huh. Maybe they mean like a little plastic container. That is just so funny. See, was it only in jars back then? I don't know. 1 jar of cream cheese with pimentos. Oh, I see. So that'll be a challenge to try to find that. All right. I'm going to already ask on Facebook or somebody somewhere in my area. Everybody's area is different. Is where do you find 1 jar of cream cheese with pimentos in it? All right. Here's what you're going to do. If you can't find that, you're going to buy You're gonna have some cream cheese and you're just gonna buy a little can of pimentos. They'll be separate. That's you gotta make it work, and that's what would work. But do they still sell it like that? Find out. 1 can of deviled ham. What? All right, maybe that's a thing I didn't know existed. Deviled ham. All right. 1/4 cup mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons snipped parsley, 1 tablespoon minced onion, and 4 drops of the Tabasco. Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy some because I'm completely out, and I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot more recipes ahead. And now, the book does say a dash of monosodium glutamate. I'm not going to add that to mine. That is MSGs. I don't want to add that. I don't even know if they make that available to buy anymore, like for the consumer. So I'm going to have to look into why that would be there. It's going to be totally fine without it. Does it make it not get brown, or what's the deal with that? What's the deal with that? Tempted to do 5 dips, but I'm going to promise you the 3. All right. So hope to see you guys next week. Get out your cookbooks, get out your clothing, dress up, have a party. How fun would that be? Have a party. Have everybody, send them the recipe. Everybody, you have 10 people, you have 10 dips, you all try it. Wear your 70s clothes and have some fun. That's it for today. I look forward to seeing you guys the next time, and have a great weekend. Bye.